Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 220 of the show, and before we get started, we're going to do a house cleaning quick because, well, I don't want to make sense that we do it around here, so let's just get on with the house cleaning. I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and listening to today's episode. It really does mean a lot to me, guys, to constantly take time in your days to download these episodes, to share these episodes, to constantly keep letting me know how you feel, whether you like my stupid face or not, or my opinions. Again, this episode will be more of an audio version because I'm not gonna lie, guys. The whole thing with my cam link is super weird. It works perfectly fine when I use it on my laptop when I'm, using it for work. But the second I try plugging into the PC to record the show, it's just like bleh. And I know I do also have the ATEM, but I really want to get the cam link working since, well, that's my own thing and the ATEM's barred, but that's a whole other thing. I do want to say thank you guys for at least coming back and downloading these episodes, for sharing them, for, constantly letting me know how you feel about all this stuff. Even though this week I know we did not, put a poll on the Instagram so you guys can choose what the topic will be, but I feel like this topic is also very important. So I just decided to take the executive decision on this one again. But thank you guys for helping us hit over 3,000 total downloads. I really, really appreciate that. And thank you to the Patreon backers for supporting the show as well. You guys are a bunch of lovely group of individuals. But my dear viewers, and listeners, because this is an audio show. Well, we're doing audio even though we're still posting this on YouTube too. But, we get a nice little graphic to go with it if you're watching the video one. So, lol. Anyways, today's topic, what are we talking about exactly? So, at the time of this recording, it is May 31st. The day this episode goes live, we officially transition into June 1st. And we officially transition into halfway of this year. And my good Lord, it feels weird to be saying that we're already halfway done with this very, I'd say good and interesting year. But what exactly are we talking about today? And it's ironic that I mentioned that, we're halfway through the year because we're talking about the incredibly stacked month known as June. And why do I want to talk about June specifically? So in the month of June, specifically during every time of the year, this is usually E3 season. This is usually the time of the year when every, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, all of them come together, or at least make an effort to come together to all talk about like the big game releases, big games coming at the end of the year, or at least like in the next coming months, next couple weeks. And usually that's what happens during this time frame. Also, the same thing happens with third parties and et cetera, et cetera. This year is a bit different though. One, we are not having E3, so that's officially out of here. And two, we also seem to be forgetting that a bunch of other events are happening during this time frame. So that's why I'm titling this episode The Stacked Month of June 2022, because there is so much stuff happening this month, and I just feel like let's just talk about it and just break it down and just share my thoughts about them. And let me know what you guys think also in the comments down below. So what exactly is happening during June? Well, to start off June, we're getting a Pokemon Direct, and they're specifically talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and that alone already has people, whether highly intrigued, highly concerned. Like, I don't know, guys, because look, here's what it says. June 1st at 6 a.m. PDT, they're going to be talking, it's a Pokemon Direct, they're going to be talking about, or not really a Pokemon Direct, it's more like a trailer, so they're going to do more info about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. A lot of people want to know about this since it is the big Pokemon game that comes out at the end of the year, especially because this would be the first year, well, I wouldn't say first year, but we have two Pokemon games coming out. We have Pokemon Legends Arceus starting off the year. I highly, highly recommend the game. I love it to absolute death. And then we have Scarlet and Violet to end off this year. as normal expectancy. That isn't the only thing Nintendo's swinging for the fences, because they also have a very stacked June. And I just want to mention some of the big heavy hitters coming out of Nintendo this month. So just going down the list, we have Mario Strikers Battle League on June 10th. We have Fall Guys coming on June 21st to the Nintendo Switch as a free-to-play game. We have the Sonic Origins, the Sonic Origins game coming out on June 23rd on all platforms. We have Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes on June 24th. We have the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak DLC June 30th. I'm very excited for this one because, as you guys know, I talked about it a little bit. I've talked about Monster Hunter Rise. If I haven't, then that's my fault. But Monster Hunter Rise is one of my favorite games when it came out. I love that game to absolute death. I pumped hundreds of hours into it on my Nintendo Switch, even though, yes, it still ran at a solid 30. I wish it looked better and ran better, so that's why I bought it on my PC. I bought it on my PC, but I'm still sad that they didn't add cross saves because, man, I really don't want to restart. But it also is a much, much better experience. So, a devil's sword. But aside from the little stuff with Nintendo, we also have a Microsoft event coming up this month. I think it's on June 6th. And then we also have a Sony State of Play as well. That's not the only thing. We also have WWDC from Apple on June 6th. And to me, it's crazy to think that there's so many things that can happen, if I'm just being honest here. Let's talk about Apple first, because I feel like this is probably the most intriguing one out of those, aside from the Nintendo stuff. Like the Sony and Microsoft, I'll share my thoughts on that briefly. But with Apple, we know WWDC is usually a software event. That's usually what it is every year. During this time is when they tend to show off the latest iOS versions, iPadOS versions, watchOS versions, new software features coming to iPhones, iPads, macOS, Apple Watches, and occasionally they will show hardware. I say that now. Occasionally they show hardware. For me, obviously, let's just get out of the way. We know we're not seeing iPhones. We know we're not seeing Apple Watches. We know that's not happening. Do I think we'll see anything related to iPad? I don't believe so, due to the fact that we just got the iPad Air refresh. We already have a refresh for the iPad mini. And at the same time, I know some people are asking for a Pro refresh this year, which to me, if I'm just being honest, I get that it's probably going to happen. Do I think it's going to happen at this event? Probably not. Will it happen at the iPhone event later in the year? Probably. What I've just been bothered by recently, especially with the iPad Pro, the iPad Pro refresh should not be happening every single year like it has been. Because think about it. They had the 2018 iPad Pro, the 2020 iPad Pro, the 2021 iPad Pro, and now we're going to have a 2022 iPad Pro. You get what I'm saying? Is like, we shouldn't have consecutive years of the Pro getting an update when, one, iPadOS, I'm just being honest here, as much as I love the Pros, I think they're some of the best tablets ever made. I don't think at the current state of where the software is, it makes logical sense to be buying a Pro every single year, especially if you have a maxed out model from last year, a 2021 iPad Pro, the one, the full 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, however much it is, with the full 16 gigs of RAM. You do not need an upgrade. There is nothing on iPadOS that will legitimately push these things into insane levels. There is nothing you can do. I'm just being objectively honest here. There's nothing that will push these things to their limit. Nothing. I personally sold my iPad Pro to get the iPad mini, a 256 model, because one, I just needed a bigger display that wasn't too big. And at the same time, the mini does what I wanted to. It's still, powerful. I primarily just use it to do my yoga and my workouts at the gym and watch videos and stuff like that. And it just fits my use case better. Overall, at the same time here, let's just say this too. Obviously, we know we're going to see the latest version of macOS. Some people are like, oh, are we going to see the new M2 chip? And I'm like, do I think we're going to see anything with the M2? Based on the rumors, based on what we're hearing in conversations, I don't think we're going to see it. I think it might get delayed. Even though, yes, I get where people are coming from. They're like, well, look, the original M1 is almost 2 years old now. We should see a refresh on it. I'm like, well, yes, that's fair and reasonable. Even though some people are like, we need the M2. We need a more professional powerhouse CPU. I'm like, guys, that's brain dead. We already have the M1 Pro. We have the M1 Max. and we have the M1 Ultra. You cannot be asking for professional level CPUs in a entry level device. You literally sound brain dead. I'm like, it's not being mean. I'm just being honest here. You are literally knocking up the wrong tree. That is not where you're supposed to be. If you want a professional machine, you should be buying a professional machine and not trying to get professional performance out of an entry level device that is not specifically designed to do professional tasks. Yes, I love the entry level 13-inch MacBook Pro. I absolutely love it. If I had the money for it, I would have kept it. I personally wanted that model, 16 gigs, 1 terabyte. That's what I wanted. I personally don't believe anything higher for entry level machines. Personally, this is what I say. College students, I don't think you need, like, I personally think you should get the 16 gigs of RAM. I think 512 gigabytes of storage is what you need. If you want to jump up to the 1 terabyte, that's great. Personally, 16 gigs is all you need. I get it. Some people are like, oh, the architecture is different. So 8 gigs, not the same way as Windows, man. I'm like, look, I would still rather have a decently future-proof machine that I know is going to last longer, especially when you know these machines have started on RAM. I'd rather get the most RAM that I can get out of it and be okay, because I'm like, look, I got the most that I can out of it. I got a good spec model. I know it's going to be well supported. It's going to be better optimized. It's going to handle these apps much better because of more RAM. That's just how this stuff works. You could try to argue the math as much as you want. More RAM will always work better. It's just more logical sense. And I get it. These are, entry level machines or budget machines. Yeah, I get it. Now, do I think students should be buying, like high school students should be buying an MacBook Air or MacBook Pro 13-inch, the entry level one? Hell no. They are better off or better served with a Chromebook, or let's be honest here, an iPad Pro or an iPad Air or something in that line. They do not need a MacBook. I'm saying this to the parents out there. I'm saving you some money. So, just doing you a favor here. But do I think we'll see anything with the M2? Not likely. I think that's going to get pushed back, or Apple is just going to tease the Mac Pro. If they show it, I think that would be great, because we know the Mac, like obviously when they made the Mac Studio, they obviously said it during the event. The next in the lineup and the last one is the Mac Pro. This is the one, like the big, super professional machine that is used in movie studio. Like this is the big heavy hitter that's going to throw 50 grand. The Mac Studio is great for like audio engineers and stuff like that because, very affordable, I say affordable, $8,000. Some people are like, $8,000's not that affordable, Josh. I'm like, okay, for professionals, that's an investment, and it's for what they're gonna do with it, it's pretty affordable. But you get what I'm getting at. Do I think we'll see anything with a refresh to the AirPods Pros? When it comes to WWDC, I'd say that could be a maybe. I could see maybe improvements to AirTags, or maybe, to be honest, what I want to see with a refresh of the AirPods Pros, here's what I want. Improve the sound quality, improve the battery life, improve ANC, but include AirTag technology in the case, or even in the, pods themselves. I think that would be a great idea, personally, especially because we know these things are, prone to get stolen pretty easily. And let's be real here, when someone steals them, well, you're kind of SOL, because the second they reset them, then, well, you're kind of out of luck, But I think incorporating AirTag technology into the case of them, or even making something that lets you use an AirTag, or even, make a refined AirTag that's a little bit smaller to go on AirPods Pros, or even AirPods in general, I think would be a great idea. Personally, that's me. But the AirPod Pros are coming up on 2 years, or I think they're actually, are they coming up on 2 years? Yeah, they are. They're almost 2 years old now, and I've had mine since they came out. So if they make a refresh, I'd buy them, to be honest. Straight up, no questions asked. AirPods Pros have been some of my favorite earbuds I've used, and I'm not really that big of an earbud person. I'm more of a headphone person, personally. And I'd be interested to see what they do with them. Let's talk about, let's talk about Sony and Microsoft. Okay, look. Microsoft, the fact that Starfield and Redfall got delayed, I didn't talk about it so much on the show just because at the time frame, school, work, I didn't really have a lot of time to just dedicate to talking about those things. Also, it was a little bit too late. Personal opinion, the Microsoft event, I'm not that interested to see what they show, since I don't really know what else they have to show, unless they show something about Hellblade 2. They showed something about Avowed, maybe something about Fabled. Like, or at least show something about Starfield. Like, actually show gameplay. Like, if they have to show gameplay, like, I get it, they delayed it and everything. Guys, they really have to show something for this game. They really have to show something here. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I'm just being honest here. Sony, there was leaks talking about that it was going to be a indie-based event, third-party based event. I think we're going to see stuff from Capcom. Like, this has been a general consensus. I think we're going to see stuff from Capcom regarding Resident Evil 4 Remake. I personally would like to see something maybe along the lines of Street Fighter 6, maybe something with that. I would say, maybe something with Konami. I would say maybe something with Bandai. To me, I don't okay. What I personally think they should show. I think they should be showing us more about God of War Ragnarok and give us the official release date. Or at least say it's getting delayed. I am very worried that that game will be delayed. Because I get it, we got the trailer and everything and stuff like that. They haven't really talked about it since then. I'm kind of worried that it's going to get delayed out of this year. That's my concern. People were worried about Nintendo because, Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed out of the year. I'm like, look, homie. They are perfectly fine and stacked for this year. Unless they want a Zelda thing, then they'll probably, if they want a Zelda game to come out every single year, then they probably have Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remasters ready to go. But let's be real. They have Mario Strikers. They have Fire Emblem. They have Bayonetta 3. They have Splatoon 3. They have Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They have Pokemon coming out. Like, bro, Nintendo's going to be doing fine. Their homies are eating well. Like, ain't nobody going home hungry. Let's be real. Everyone's going home with a nice Christmas bonus. And they're going to be making some sweet bank. Let's be honest here. Them homies are going to be fine. Microsoft and Sony, they ain't really got much. God of War, if it comes out, great. We have something good to look forward to. Microsoft kind of got caught lacking, but I get it. They want quality games coming out, so hopefully they show something of Starfield and it actually looks good, or maybe even show something about, like, I don't know, anything. Like, I would really like to see anything. And I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that eventually on the show, as like my concerns with Microsoft right now, because I get it, all the acquisitions, like, it takes time for the studios to really wind up and get the games going and stuff like that. But come on, guys, like, you gotta get some stuff in there, bro. Like, next year is gonna be much better, since by then all the games the studios have been working on will finally start releasing, so we'll have stuff there. But aside of all of that stuff, June is going to be a very interesting month. I'm excited to see how a lot of these games turn out. I'm excited to see a lot of reviews for these games. It's probably going to hurt my bank account this month, because I'm going to be buying that Monster Hunter DLC for sure, because I just, I really love that game. It's really fun. Pump so many hours into it. If they show anything with Sony, I would be interested to see if they show anything with, what's it called? The PSVR 2. I'd be very, very interested to see if they show anything about that. Apple, if they show anything about AirPods Pro refreshes, or if they just come out with them, heck, I'm buying them, or at least they talk about them, because I will buy those straight up, just no questions asked. I've been, I want them. But I'm just interested to see what gets shown off. Overall, June is a very, very interesting month. I'm just putting that out there. And let's not get started. You could have other stuff happening. Like, there's rumors that Sega might come out with a new mini console. The people that made the Sega Genesis Mini, which I have right behind me, the people that made that talked about that they'd be interested in making another console, and they mentioned the Dreamcast. So for people that love the Dreamcast, Dreamcast Mini would be very interesting. I personally want to see I would like to see a Sega Saturn Mini, personally. Also, Nintendo, I would like them to make the mini console, make another mini consoles again. Like, I have the SNES, I have the NES Mini. Personally, I would love a GameCube Mini. That's the one that I want the most. But let's be honest here, they're probably going to do, if they ever do it again, they would make an N64 Mini first. That would be the first one before they even get anywhere close to the GameCube. I personally want the GameCube Mini. I think that would be perfect. I think that'd be adorable. I think it's easy to tell the game. Same thing with the N64. It's easy to tell what games would be on there. But guys, let me know what you guys think. This is more of a, I wouldn't say unstructured episode, but it's more of a free-flowing conversation of just talking about these events and just seeing hey, are you guys excited for them? Are you not excited for them? I'm personally excited to see what happens. Am I going to watch all of them? if I'm not busy with work, I'll watch them, but we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, whether you like my takes about these things or not, whether you like, what I actually talked about today. Let me know in the comments down below. But I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful week and weekend, guys. And I know this is a very, for me, this is a great time because this week will be my second week working at Dell, and we'll be finishing training. And next week we'll begin the process of actually working full time. We already are working full time, but we'll actually be doing the job. And so I'm very excited for that. Dell has been treating me very nicely, and just seeing the company culture and just seeing how people actually like what they're doing, to me, is very encouraging. I love interacting with the people that I'm working with, and I'm definitely going to talk about it once it's all said and done, and just let you guys know how it was. But as always, guys, don't do anything dumb. Please continue to be kind and respectful to those around you, because the world is still a weird and ugly place, and the best thing we can do is try to make it better. That's the only thing we can do. And by doing that, best way we can do it is try to be as positive as we can be, but try to, as I always like to say, be hopeful realist. This is what I like to say, is be hopeful and wish for the best and everything, but also don't be naive fools and just take everything at base value. But I love you guys to death. Please have yourselves a wonderful week and weekend. And I love you guys to absolute death. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.